What's going on, everyone? It's Justin here, and today I have my review of the brand new OPPO Find N2 Flip smartphone, and this is pretty much my first actual experience with a flip phone. I've definitely tested out a fair share of displays that are foldable, curved over the years, and I've had a lot of fun checking out these devices as soon as they came out, but I feel like each time the experience was relatively mixed. Because it's one thing to have cool technology and just be able to demonstrate it, but at the same time, you always wonder what is the practical use behind it, and I feel like the flip phone has actually made its return in a really effective way, and I want to give a huge thanks to OPPO for sponsoring this video. So we actually just got back from Barcelona doing a camera test with the OPPO Find N2 Flip. So if you want to check out a video specifically of the camera samples that were taken on the 50 megapixel main camera, I'll leave a link to that video down below. But it was really nice to be back at MWC to check out OPPO's latest technologies, and we're going to be talking about that as well in this video. So for starters, the N2 Flip is their flip phone, and it is essentially like a second generation to OPPO's Flip generation, and they've made quite a few improvements here. When I checked out the original OPPO Find N, which was a phone that flipped the other way, I already really enjoyed it because it had more of a square-ish form factor that was a little bit different to the other phones on the market that flipped sideways. And I found that OPPO's execution when it comes to the actual hinge in the middle was better than the competition out there. It was just very invisible in a lot of ways, and it was the most minimal in terms of what I'd seen before. And this year, they've continued to improve on that, and the new Flexion hinge with the teardrop design actually is 63% more invisible than before, but as I said, the first generation already did a really good job of that. When you flip the phone screen like this, you have a 6.8-inch AMOLED display. It is a full HD plus 2520 by 1080 resolution with a 120 Hz refresh rate. It also features a touch sampling rate of 240 Hz, so that is really good for gaming, for example. The displays have a sustained brightness of around 500 nits, but the maximum brightness goes up to 1200 nits for the front screen and 800 nits on the secondary screen, so even in sunlight, you can still see things very easily. And so you can use the phone like just as a typical one. It is definitely a longer shape because it's a square folded out. And when you're scrolling through like a timeline and everything, it just all feels very fluid. But I actually found myself liking to use the phone in like a semi-folded way, just holding it like this and the top of the screen tilted towards you. I found that to be very natural. And as I said, the hinge in the middle is very well constructed. It just overall feels very solid in its design, and we definitely opened and closed it many times throughout the trip and in the weeks that I had it, but this has actually been tested by OPPO in their facility over 400,000 times for durability to ensure that the hinge is reliable beyond the average open and close on a daily basis throughout the lifespan of a device. So I don't know exactly how many times I take my phone out of the pocket each day. I would say that I wouldn't be surprised if it was like 100 times a day, and if you multiply that by every day of the year for however many years, by the time you get to that number of 400,000, that is far beyond the average lifespan of a smartphone, even on a long contract. So yeah, as we went around Barcelona, a lot of people were asking what phone this was, and so there's definitely a lot of intrigue around it, and I can tell you the execution of the hinge is very good. When it comes to some of the practical uses of this phone design and the flip design, here are some of them that come to mind. So for example, if you want to take a picture of yourself, specifically the front display, and you want to utilize the rear-facing 50 megapixel camera, you're actually able to use this as a viewfinder and use the photo, the portrait, or the video mode. And by enabling that, you can either like take a selfie, have the phone in front of you like this and see what you're taking a picture of, record a video, or you can also prop it up on say like a table or a flat surface and use the self timer to take a photo of your entire group while being able to preview everything on the display right here. You can have it tilted horizontally and also vertically, which is nice, but I would say that the front display is in the beginning a bit weird to get used to because I wasn't sure if it was like a full-fledged display that you can control everything with, or it was limited in functionality. And so in this case, this display is narrowed down to the specific features such as being able to use like the control center to change the vibration, the Wi-Fi, and all that kind of stuff. You can also view some general information and notifications, but you can access the camera features. There's also weather information and calendar information as well. So yeah, some of the basic necessities that are on the front on this 3-inch display is very handy, but I think the primary purpose of having this flip design is being able to take pictures using this back-facing camera on the front side. It's also really fun to record video. I mean, you can walk around and use it like a camcorder. It makes it much easier to record, and there's also really good features built into the main camera when using the primary display to not only being able to preview on the front, but also being able to adjust where the field of view is of the camera. So when you're taking pictures of real estate, for example, you want to actually take like a perspective image, you can actually tilt the camera like this and it'll display the live view on the bottom screen so you can still see what you're taking a picture of. But even if you just want to walk around and use it like a camcorder, it will utilize this half of the screen and put all the controls on the other side. So I really enjoy being able to use it for the video tools, and with a 50 megapixel main camera, it's been really awesome. Talking about the camera itself though, we did make a dedicated video about the camera and the 50 megapixel sensor, but it is a 50 megapixel camera that is engineered in partnership with Hasselblad. And as you can see from the samples here, they look great on their own, but they've also been really nice to edit as well. It features an f1.8 aperture, and it also features an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera that, I mean, is pretty decent, but I've been using the main camera primarily, and typically the photos will be binned down to 12 megapixels, but on this trip in Barcelona, I wanted to capture the maximum resolution and detail possible of these major landmarks, and so I was taking pictures primarily in the 50 megapixel high resolution mode. So when it comes to the processor side of things, the phone features a Dimensity 9000 Plus by MediaTek, and it is an 8-core processor as well as 8 gigabytes of RAM. And overall, when it comes to any of the tasks that I gave to it, it was able to handle quite nicely. I wouldn't say it's a phone form factor that is really good for gaming specifically, but when it comes to like just a nice productivity device that is very portable, great for calling, but also great for capturing photos, for example, it is able to handle these tasks like you would expect out of a flagship caliber smartphone. But I think when it comes to the battery life, this is another area that OPPO has beaten its competition at. This phone features a 4300 milliamp hour battery, and OPPO has been doing a lot of cool things when it comes to battery technology, especially when it comes to charging speed. On a lot of their flagship smartphones, they actually have a dual cell design, which has 2 battery compartments that allow it to charge very fast, but also have very high capacity batteries. But when it comes to like a phone like this, that is a folding phone, there are some engineering challenges in terms of how big of a battery that you're able to fit. And so even within this dual design, OPPO has fit in a 4300 milliamp hour battery, which compared to the Samsung Galaxy Fold equivalent, actually only has a 3700 milliamp hour battery. So you have a significantly larger battery here, but when it comes to the charging speed, it's up to 44 watts, and the included charger is 67 watts. But at 44 watts, it is still the fastest charging flip phone, and that is really good because you're able to get 0 to 50 in just over 20 minutes and 0 to 100 in just under an hour. When it comes to what you should expect out of the battery life, I would say that it isn't able to reach what you would expect out of like a typical flagship smartphone that has a 4,000 or 5,000 milliamp hour battery, in one where I was able to get like 8 to 9 hours of screen on time. But I would say I was able to get around 6 to 7 hours of screen on time, which is still plenty for the average user. It's still really good. I mean, for a phone like this that folds and it has a lot of technical features, the dual displays, and me using the 50 megapixel camera throughout the day, I was quite impressed in that category. And I think from an execution standpoint, OPPO has done a really good job here. The phone looks really good. There's no like visible U-shaped seam in the middle of the smartphone, which definitely makes me question the durability sometimes, but instead it folds very flush, has a flat edge design, the nice OPPO hinge and the logo that's revealed, but most importantly, when you open it up, you can barely notice the seam in the middle at all, and you're able to scroll and use the phone seamlessly as you would, but at the same time, it is so thin and light, and it weighs in at under 200 grams for a phone that has a 6.8-inch display. So while we were at Mobile World Congress 2023, checking out OPPO's booth for the second year in a row, here are some of the technologies that we saw that OPPO is working on, both in the smartphone department, but also in different categories as well. They have a whole different variety of products and technologies on display, from the latest and greatest smartphones in their lineup of the N2 Flip as well as the N2 folding phone, as well as a memory lane of all the previous generations of other phones that we've also had the chance to review and create campaigns on the channel. There's also stuff like the OPPO AirGlass 2, the Marsilicon Y, the Super VOOC demonstration, which was a huge hit in last year's show, as well as networking products and just a generalization of some cool products in different categories, some of which will have technologies that are made into the smartphones and others are a bit more experimental. Beginning with the OPPO AirGlass 2, this is a second generation of OPPO's AR glasses. This has definitely been a trend at the Mobile World Congress, but OPPO's AR glasses are unique in the fact that they are the lightest and thinnest smart glasses at just 38 grams. The lenses will support vision correction and customization, so they'll be virtually indistinguishable from regular glasses. Features include making phone calls, real-time translation, location-based navigation, and convert voice to text for those who are hearing impaired, along with many more smart experiences. Beyond the technology itself, with AR technology continuing to improve, what is most impressive is the hardware aspect and just how seamless these products are going to be in our daily lives. With the introduction of Marsilicon X NPU in last year's smartphones at MWC, that was really focused on the image signal processing, enabling much higher resolutions with low noise and just a lot of imaging related features that also benefit low light performance and let you take full advantage of the camera hardware in OPPO's flagship smartphones. Marsilicon Y focuses on the audio side of things, and OPPO's flagship Bluetooth audio SoC focus on improving and exploring wireless, lossless, and computational audio. It is the first 24-bit 192 kHz wireless audio solution over Bluetooth. It is built on the cutting-edge N6RF process technology that delivers the highest bandwidth ever at 12 megabits per second, and the dedicated neural processing unit, known as the NPU, has over 590 gigabillion operations per second. Some of the practical features include spatial audio, as well as low latency and also low interference when you have other wireless devices around, or as you navigate with your audio products in the outside world, where there are just so many wireless technologies that can often cause interference with Bluetooth devices and your audio listening experience. At the OPPO booth, there is also the OHealth H1 Family Health Monitor. It's a health monitor that combines 6 health data monitoring functions into a single device, including blood oxygen measurements, ECG, heart and lung, as well as heart rate, body temperature, and sleep tracking. The OHealth H1 will help users take better care of health in the entire family, and it's also super light and minimal, weighing in at just 95 grams. The networking devices were also really cool, but whenever I go to the OPPO booth, I just like to be able to check out all the different smartphones in the current lineup, including ones that we've had the chance to play with for the past couple weeks, while also seeing all the other great technologies at MWC before going outside and testing out the cameras in a beautiful city like Barcelona. But otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching this video of the OPPO Find N2 flip smartphone, and being my first experience really using a flip phone like this for a couple weeks, I really liked it. I think it's a really unique experience, and I'd like to see more companies doing this because for the most part, I find the execution has gotten really good in just a few years. As always, if you guys enjoyed this video though, make sure to go ahead and drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next one.